Hello world, you're watching 80s Music Twin Ranked. I'm Joel.
I'm Chris.
And despite us being 80s Music Twin Ranked, we're going to go back to the 60s. And my first question to you is, who's your favorite Beatle?
Probably ladybugs are nice, nice and red, and they don't really cause too much harm. I hate the stink bugs. When they get in your house and you see one, you're like, oh, God. You gotta grab it with a napkin and take it outside before it does the...
Don't kill them.
Yeah. Remember Japanese Beatles? And we'd have the Japanese traps, and they'd be
yes, I didn't say, what's your favorite Beatle? I said, who's your favorite Beatle?
The Beatles,
the
not
Beatles. Although, but before we go there, I'll just tell you my favorite Beatle is the Scarab. Do you know what the Scarab is?
Yeah, it's an Egyptian...
Alright, so in the movie The Mummy...
The Mummy, right?
I named my first son Brendan because of that movie.
Not Brendan Fraser.
And it's the Beetle that gets under your skin. You can see it crawling up your arm. Sort of like the Beatles music. When you listen to it enough, it gets under your skin.
That's what it's...
We're doing...
Paul McCartney said that about Hey Jude.
Oh, did he?
The lyrics about her getting under your skin or something.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, you know what? Hey Jude, the guy again, the UPS driver always said, he goes, who's that song about? I'm like, I don't know who Jude is. I said,
spelled Julia.
I said, I didn't do my research. Which, sometimes we don't do our research. You know what? I think Beatles have a lot out there. I think maybe we should take some time and do more research. What do you say?
That's fine.
What we're going to need, though, is 8 days a week.
Here's the thing. We have jobs, and this we just
do for fun.
We have one. Yeah, we're doing it for fun, and we do 1 week at a time. So we got pretty much anytime we're not sleeping or working, we can do our research. So it's limited.
If we throw anything out there that is incorrect, yes, you can correct us.
Yeah, we like comments. We don't care.
Doing the Beatles. Last week we did Paul McCartney, and we are in the habit of doing. When we do a solo artist, if they were in a popular band before they were a solo, that's what we're doing. We did Robert Plant, followed by Led Zeppelin, Lionel Richie, followed by the Commodores, now Paul McCartney, followed by the Beatles.
Right.
And I do like, obviously, interesting things about them. Let's go to the.
Well, let me correct myself from last week. Last week, I had said I think Paul McCartney plays the harmonica. Actually, the Beatle that plays the harmonica in the Beatles is John Lennon.
Does he?
Yes, he's the one that plays the harmonica.
Okay.
And the song you were talking about was Say, Say, Say.
Yes.
That was an unknown.
Unknown.
That was playing harmonica. It wasn't one of the famous.
And I'm sure there's a lot of unknown harmonica players. The guy who plays harmonica in Leave a Tender Moment Alone for Billy Joel, we probably have no idea.
He's from another country, too, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
I think he was famous in his country.
By the way, the Beatles do end up in a Billy Joel song. We didn't start the fire.
British Beatlemania, yes.
Rhymed with Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, so what is Beatlemania? It means they were
Beatlemania,
so popular.
It's not... It's the first time it's on that scale, but Elvis Presley was before the Beatles, and he had it.
He did.
And there have been something like it since, like you see fans are like
Michael Jackson, when they're fainting and crying when they see him. That was pretty.
I was thinking like New Kids on the Block.
Did they have that big of fan?
Backstreet Boys, NSYNC,
and they have literally every band today. Even though music sucks today, everybody has their own fan group with their own name. So.
Swifties.
Yes, that's one of them. So it's a Beatlemania coinciding with the British invasion, which involved the Rolling Stones, the Kinks. It didn't put the Who in there. I thought they were British.
They stopped doing tours and going on tour because they couldn't hear themselves with the women shrieking. So, and they put Rubber Soul out, which was a little different.
Right.
They weren't wearing their suits, and they had them up to...
Was that when they changed?
That's when they started changing their music, and they became a studio band, although they did do tours later.
What is interesting, they went from pretty much acoustic, right? And then toward the end, it was psychedelic music. They even something as that guitar part. Sounds like 70s music. That was in the 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, in a 6-year time span, they changed their music a lot.
Yeah.
So I have written behind us the Beatles because I don't know which albums to put down. Because
the UK had their albums, and then
the US had their own. Like,
yeah.
and you couldn't find all the songs on every UK album. So I go, which one do I go by? So I didn't. I put their name. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we named some of them. I know they had Introducing the Beatles.
Yeah, Meet the Beatles. Obviously, the later ones, they coincided.
Yeah,
Abbey Road.
We know those. Rubber Soul, Abbey Road, the White Album, Let It Be was an
Sgt.
album.
Pepper.
Revolver.
Yeah. So popular. Again, 6-year time span, they put, what, 12 albums? 2 every year. So massive catalog.
Yeah.
And probably by and large, the biggest amount of songs we had to rank for an artist. Maybe
now, the
McDonald's.
Beatles have something that Elvis sort of had. Elvis had his impersonators. There are bands, in fact, there's cover bands.
You went on a cruise.
Dressed like the Beatles.
Yes.
There's
Well, you went on a cruise, right, with some other couples, and there was a band that covered Beatles songs.
I can't
remember
their name. They might have been Beatlemania or something like that.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool because
they did a change of outfit.
They did a change of outfit where
styles.
the curtain closed, and they just had him, the Paul McCartney character, play Yesterday by himself.
Okay.
Because I think he did just that on the album with maybe an orchestra behind him. The other guys didn't play on it. So they were doing a costume change, and they changed into the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band
with
uniforms
the weird
and
uniforms.
the album. And they played Wenham 64 while Paul McCartney went to change. And he walked out halfway through the song. And that was pretty cool. So then they did the later songs with them in those outfits.
And every band member got to sing some songs. Like Ringo Starr, he sang that song, right? When I'm 64.
No, I think it's probably John Lennon. I thought it was Paul McCartney, but Paul McCartney wasn't singing on the
Well,
cruise.
I mean, so Ringo Starr did have a few songs. I Get By.
He did Act Naturally. Yellow Submarine would be his most famous.
The Friends song.
Oh yeah,
Little Time with My Friends.
Little Help from
A Little Help from My Friends.
Which Joe Cocker did, and it became the Wonder Years theme song.
Right. George Harrison, he made our list. I'm surprised that one of his songs made our list. But on the first album, do you want to know a secret? That's him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. Something.
I like that one.
The one I mentioned, Something, that was George Harrison. Later years.
Yeah.
Those two, that was because they got rid of Pete Best. They were the Quarrymen. Changed their name.
There was another guy, Stuart Sutcliffe.
Right.
He died because he's the one who suggested they be called the Beatles.
Oh, okay.
But he died of a brain aneurysm
During that.
pretty
time?
early on.
Okay.
Before they were popular, I think.
So they had Pete Best, and he literally. It sounds like they never wanted him in the band.
Well, I think they
couldn't find a drummer.
The producer didn't like his drumming.
But Ringo Starr would sub for him when Pete Best couldn't play, and they obviously saw he played better, and everyone and
he wasn't the best.
Even though they were touring, they had both of those guys playing. But before the first album came out, they had already fired Pete Best. So Ringo Starr, to me, they're the Beatles. There is no fifth Beatle.
They say that. Well, he
did have to get some money.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they did say there was another Beatle that played. There was a guy that played on Let It Be, I think. Played keyboards.
Okay, the black guy.
The black guy, and I think they were calling him
something.
They were calling him the fifth Beatle, but he only played on one album, didn't play all the songs. So I don't know how you can call him that.
No.
Just because he got recognized, he was put in.
Now you mentioned Let It Be. I'll tell you this. We just did this Pointer Sisters about a month ago. And they had Sesame Street gave them the Oinker Sisters. Right? Sesame Street also did that for the Beatles. And they actually have the Beatles, 2 E's, B-E-E. You got the antennas.
Yeah.
And they sing.
Don't they have the hair? The
moppy hair. Instead of Let It Be, it's the letter B. Which is pretty cool. And then they did Hey Jude with Hey Food. I'm sure they had all sorts of food. Right. I didn't watch it.
They had their own cartoon.
I know.
I watched one of them. I'm like, nah, I can't watch it. It's so stupid.
I already know though that even though that's going to be our thumbnail, the cartoon version.
Okay.
And you know they're no stranger to our cartoons because their last movie they did was Yellow Submarine,
Yeah.
all animated. Well, not all. There is one live section.
They don't make submarines yellow. They want them to. Submarines are usually used in war, so they want them to be stealthy. And the yellow one would not be stealthy.
It's like the Spirit airplane underwater.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what you got the magic school bus. There's a variety of colors. So you know, once you get into animation, you can't just have a gray thing. You have to use all my crayons and paint and stuff.
All right, so let's go back to the Beatlemania. Now I had talked about. I think I saw Help. I was wrong. It was A Hard Day's Night.
Yeah, I saw Hard.
That is the one where Ringo goes separately. He didn't get hurt. I guess he had an uncle that told him to do something, so that's why they had to go look.
That's the one I saw too. Help is about Ringo being. They were attacking him for being sacrificed or something like that, but it was sort of in like MTV video form, so they might be the precursor to MTV. That's what I heard. I didn't do my research, so I don't know. What's another movie they had? They had Magical Mystery Tour. Was it
Which is an hour, and it was on TV, I guess.
Yes.
There's a flop. It was a story by Paul McCartney.
Yes.
So he should just not write movies.
Because No More Lonely Nights was
Yes, that was a flop too.
Flop too, yeah.
Now, when I heard that song on the radio one time, and I'm like, I recognize it, like, and then I heard it was the Beatles, I was like, I knew that song, had no idea it was the Beatles. It doesn't sound like anything else they've ever done. That's why.
Yeah, both of it, but the other two popular ones. Hard Day's Night and what was the other one again?
Help.
Help. One word and I couldn't think of it. Okay. Both directed by Richard Lester.
Who did Superman?
Superman 2.
Yeah. Superman.
Richard Donner did.
Yeah,
Superman.
okay. Well, Richard Lester did the first one, didn't he? Too? Didn't
No,
no.
Richard Lester
The
took
second one is the one that had two different directors.
Yes.
Right? Two different cuts. Okay.
And Richard Lester's one took over,
Right.
made it more of a comedy movie. He
Yeah.
did Superman 3 too. He also did the Three Musketeers, the popular version. Yeah, so there is another movie, not with the Beatles, but about the Beatles.
Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Now I saw it.
Okay, there are three movies.
Oh, you didn't say that.
That's not the one I meant.
Okay.
Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I saw it. Now
I saw bits.
It starts with George Burns introducing it.
Okay.
And he goes, and here they are, and then they open this door, and he goes out to this gazebo where there's people, and there's music playing, and I'm like, oh, this looks like it's going to be good. And then the movie continued, and I'm like, this movie stinks. It stars Beatles music.
The Bee Gees.
Yeah, but it's the Beatles music,
Right.
but it starts as the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton.
And Aerosmith is the
Villain. Well, he's one of them. There's several
Right.
people. Earth, Wind, and Fire is in it at one point.
Yeah.
So there's lots of other bands that are also in it.
Right. Okay, that's one of them.
Okay.
Okay, second one, I Want to Hold Your Hand. They actually have a movie called directorial debut of Robert Zemeckis.
Yes, it has Eddie Deason in it.
Yes.
Midnight Madness.
And Wendy Joe Sperber, who was in Back to the Future.
Bosom Buddies?
Bosom Buddies, Back to the
has
Future.
passed away.
2005. So it's been a while for her. And a couple other people that are known.
Across the Universe, you had mentioned before, you know, that's Beatles music also put together, but it was a song. But is it a Broadway musical or something like that? I think there was a movie.
Maybe.
There was a movie.
Maybe. And then third, there's a parody by the Monty Python people called The Ruddles, or All You Need Is Cash.
Well,
Instead of All You Need Is Love, All You Need Is Cash. It's a parody of the Beatles.
There's Rebels 2.
Is there?
Can't Buy Me Lunch.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was a movie between maybe 5 years ago called Yesterday,
Yes.
where the whole world suddenly forgets about the Beatles, except for a couple.
I'm going to tell you this:
the guy who he suddenly had a good career because he like pretended.
And I call no on that. I say no way would that ever happen.
It would have to. The internet would also have to be gone.
Yeah, obviously, but okay. Supposing everybody forgot the Beatles music. Okay, knowing about today's music and how it sucks. If somebody started playing Beatles music like it was all original, it would not be that popular. That guy would not be famous, okay? They would just like, what's this crap? Get him out of here.
Yeah, they wouldn't like it.
No.
They wouldn't like it anyway.
So, and it's almost saying that it was the music that was popular.
But it's not. It's also the era.
Beatles.
It's also the era.
Right. But I'm saying was it the Beatles or the music that was popular? I think those four people, that was what made it, because people made similar music to the Beatles, yeah. But those were the ones that exploded.
I'm not sure exactly why that popularity just. It's. I mean, things is like life in the primordial soup with evolution. Said several things had to come together for that to happen, but because listen to Love Me Do. That's like a proper English.
So I'm looking at the Beatles in popular culture, and it's mentioning songs that mention the Beatles or the songs. They left one out, and that's the one I knew about because Bad Company. We just did Shooting Star.
Yeah,
and he mentions it. He goes, Johnny heard a song. He goes, "Love Me Do." I think it was there. It didn't take any long. That's not in that list. I'm like, you idiots.
There's a video on you can watch a video on YouTube. Not every reference, but 23-minute long.
Okay.
And it's just reference after reference in people in movies saying John, Paul, George, or Ringo's name or the Beatles. Any mention of those three or those four and the Beatles, the clip is in there.
James Bond mentioned the Beatles.
Yes, he did.
In Goldfinger.
And he says you have to watch it with earmuffs.
Listen to it.
You won't watch. Listen.
Wait, put the earmuffs over your eyes?
You're right. Listen to him. Probably because of the screaming fans would be my guess of why he said that.
Not because of the music?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't like Beatles music.
I don't know. Whether it was, that was
I don't think James Bond would be a fan, so I don't know.
Oh, that's what it was. Help was supposed to be part spoof of James Bond.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, maybe that's why the James Bond made fun of them. Back, because you did that to us, we're doing it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to list any albums. There are so many musics. I don't know that I can individually go through any of the songs, but they do have a lot of crappy songs too. We mentioned
they're earlier songs. The lyrics are so simple. Like she loves you, yeah. Most people know that, but like I want to hold your hand. I want to tell you something.
Oh, yeah,
I think you'll understand.
Tell you something. I think you'll understand.
I want to hold your hand. That's. I understand that.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah, and nowadays music. They go way over that. I just want to hold your hand. That'd be lame now.
You can't do that with their earlier stuff, but later in the career, when the lyrics were obscure, people were trying to read into the lyrics on things that had mountain. Supposedly that led to Helter Skelter, led to the Manson, ordeal.
Right. I believe there's a movie called Helter Skelter about Manson family.
Yes, and Motley Crue did a Helter Skelter song. Is that the exact same song?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Motley Crue.
No, but I think it might be the same song.
All right.
So cover it.
Weird Al.
He did do something on them?
He did a couple things. One, he has an early song from Dr. Demento, 1992, called Pac-Man. He's talking about the thing eating the balls, and it's played in the Taxman.
Oh, okay.
Well, but he's doing it on accordion. Also, he did Hey Jude on Polkas on 45.
Okay.
Make it better, 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 yeah! Pretty much.
And So yeah, think about it. And there's some oddball songs in there on their catalog too. I Am the Walrus.
Right. Cuckoo Cuckoo.
Cuckoo Cuckoo.
I've heard Cuckoo Cuckoo. I've heard in movies too. People play.
Yeah. And my guess is that, like Austin Powers is probably at the time frame that the Beatles were popular.
Yeah.
I can see him doing Cuckoo Cuckoo. So I'm guessing that's part of their psychedelic phase, right? Because later in their career, they were on acid and stuff like that. Which is, a couple of them. I don't remember Ringo ever doing it, but Paul McCartney. But supposedly they did drugs. But John Lennon and George Harrison, based on their solo effort, you can see they did drugs.
Okay. So they have been TV shows, movies. A lot of references. A lot of. Have you seen the Dewey Cox story, Walk Hard?
No, but I've heard about it.
They have the Beatles in there. Jack Black plays Paul McCartney.
Does he really?
Yeah. When they're talking, it's when they go see the Maharaj.
Okay.
So and they're just saying, "We're the Beatles. I'm Paul McCartney." They're saying stuff like that. It's kind of being a little meta. And Paul Rudd does John Lennon.
Okay.
So pretty funny clip. You can watch it on YouTube. I saw the whole movie. And, yeah. Birthday is sung twice that I know of. I'm Moonlighting. Bruce Willis' character does it to Maddie Hayes. Na na na. They all sing the. And also 16 Candles. I remember that. She goes, it's when they're sitting in the car, her and Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall. She's like, it's my birthday. And he goes, da da da. And he's hitting the dashboard and happy birthday.
How many do you think on the normal radio stations we listen to? What songs get played in theirs? I hear "Let It Be." I think.
I used to hear there's a lot more in the class stations. Here's the thing. They have their own like Sirius radio station. There's the Beatles. And they'll play stuff that's like them. The Monkees are probably the American version of the Beatles, I would assume.
Yeah, you know what? When they invaded the U.S., a lot of them they obviously had to tour with American artists, and they overshadowed the American artists.
Yeah, I guess they toured with Roy Orbison.
Yeah, so that's a new connection. It became a Wilbury with George Harrison.
But their fans were a lot. He still had a lot of his fans.
They met Elvis Presley, but I don't think they ever did anything with him. That would have been cool to have a movie with both of them in it.
Yeah, but Beatles didn't do that. Okay, two more things. Movies.
For you.
Movies. You got more things here before we get to our top 10. And everybody knows this, that they did a Beatles song in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Same song was done that same year
in Back to School. Yes, I was going to read it. With Rodney Dangerfield did it at the bar.
And that was Twist and Shout.
Yes.
Okay. There was a movie. They probably have a ton of movies based on their titles. Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey is probably the most popular.
Yeah.
Because they actually use the song when the credits are rolling, I think. When they had the Beatlemania going.
I think there's a movie called Beatlemania.
Yeah, probably.
Did you mention? Oh wait,
no.
Did you mention that?
No, I Want to Hold Your Hand is about Beatlemania, but just interesting fact is that when sometimes the crowds got so bad, they had to use water hoses.
Yeah, I saw that.
Can you imagine?
I'd be tempted just to spray people anyways, even if they weren't doing anything wrong.
But anyways, when it gets like we did Elvis, I did all the records he had. Beatles have the record for most number ones, right? 20 number one hits. How many number one hits are in their top 10? They have a wide variety.
There was in 1964. They had the top 5.
That will never happen again. But that shows
April.
They were releasing like every song from their albums.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Unless you're putting 2 albums out a year, but yeah. Beatles overload. Not Beatles mania.
All right, and one more movie. And this is amazing because this movie has Nicolas Cage in it, who we talked about with Elvis.
Right.
And he has something with Elvis, with the Beatles. Is Peggy Sue Got Married with
Kathleen Turner?
Kathleen Turner.
And Jim
She
Carrey.
goes back in time.
Yes.
And she's in her past where she's talking to Nicolas Cage as her boyfriend, I believe.
Okay.
And so, since she's in the past, she takes and she knows the future, she takes it upon herself to give Nicolas Cage the lyrics to "She Loves You." Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so she's the one.
Well, no. He looks at me. He's like, "Shouldn't I change it to She Loves You?" Ooh, ooh, ooh. He's trying to change the lyrics.
That's funny. Okay. Now they have. Remember, we did Madonna. She had quite a boatload of songs.
Yeah.
So I did a top 20. I'm gonna do that with the Beatles too.
Okay.
Because there's a lot.
The 10 that didn't make it.
Yes.
Okay.
The 10 that didn't make it. Okay. What would be number 20? And I hear this song today. Obla di Obla di. Or is it
Oobla,
di?
oobla.
Which, what does that mean?
John Lennon didn't like it. He thought it was like a granny kind of song. That's something she would listen to, I guess.
Yes.
I always thought it sounded like, what was that, from Hawaii or something? Like, it wasn't this country.
Number 19 also gets played today. It's Come Together. You know, it's got the drums. Birthday is 18.
Both of those songs are in the White Album.
Are they? Got to Get You Into My Life.
That's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Okay, so that one I've heard. That was in the Kodak commercials.
Okay.
They used it. The White Album also had Number 9.
Oh yeah,
Number
where
9. It's just so weird.
there was
some weird experimental
yeah.
stuff on that album.
Next one up would be Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which that has a wide range of changes in it. You know, a lot of instruments playing too.
That goes right into, with a lot of help from my friends.
Okay.
On the album. I don't know. I don't think they might. If they play that on the radio, I think they might go right into that song too.
Okay.
Kind of like Queen's "We Will Rock You," "We Are Champions."
Right. Next one up, Ticket to Ride. It's an amusement park song apparently.
A train.
Okay.
Tickets, please.
Then Love Me Do. Probably their best. No, not their best song. Is first hits. We'll just leave it at that. Love Me Do is their first hit. Here Comes the Sun. I hear is their most streamed song.
Okay. Well, yesterday was their most covered song.
Yeah.
2,000 times I heard, to 2,000 people or whatever, bands, whatever.
Okay. Then you got Help. You Need Somebody. Your number 2 song is our 11. I missed the list by that much. Eleanor Rigby, which is, I tell you what, you can't listen to the lyrics and think that's a depressing song. Or Funeral Nobody Showed.
All the lonely people, yeah.
So, how that one
Father O'Leary?
And, yeah.
Father O'Malley, Father O'Reilly. It could be any of those.
And that only made it up to number 11. Yeah. So, out of those 10 songs, 4 of them were number songs. Birthday never got ranked. And Here Comes the Sun wasn't ranked, but it's the most streamed. So, interesting. Okay. Now, honorable mention wise, your songs that didn't make our top 10 actually didn't make our top 20 because I didn't mention them either. Please Please Me. I do not like that song. I'm surprised you put it
I like. Here's what I love about the song. You don't like it. I kind of like it. It's the harmony when he goes, "Come on," and they go, "Come on."
Yeah.
Come on, come on, come on. He's Paul McCartney, I think, is saying the first "come on," and he stays right here, and they keep going up. Come on, come on, come on.
That was supposed to be a slow song too, and
they sped it up. They sped it up when they went to Ringo playing the drums because the first version was with the other guy. I think it was not Pete Best, but a studio drummer. They get.
Next one of yours was Yellow Submarine, which they sing that very drab. We all live in a yellow submarine. Can you live in a yellow submarine?
Probably not.
All right, and then All You Need Is Love, which I believe is the last song in that animated movie. The songs that I liked in the top 10 that you didn't like, my number 2, so both of our number 2s didn't make it, Get Back, which is famous because it's got a video. They don't have very many videos shot just particularly where they're on the rooftop. That's where U2 got their thing, doing theirs on the rooftop.
The only thing I remember about that is there was a commercial for, I think it was a compilation album of just past songs, because there's a lot of those.
Okay.
And I think the commercial for this had somebody was trying to slide home in a baseball game.
Oh, really?
And missed the plate.
Okay.
And the umpire's like, "Get back!" And they had the Beatles playing while he was doing it. So that's
Okay. And then my other one would be Something, because I like that guitar part. Sounds like it's from the 70s. Right. Now the rest of the song I'll give you is not as good. It's that guitar part. Okay, our top 10. Here we go. And how many number ones do you think are in this list?
5.
7.
Okay. Anytime my guesses are always wrong. Why do you ask me?
Interested. Okay, so our first number one is number 10. Coming from the Magical Mystery Tour, and that's Hello Goodbye. I have this at 19, and you have it at 13.
It's a weird album cover. They're all dressed as walruses.
Yes, yes. And that video, there's a part in the video where George Harrison is not the one singing, but they have the camera this close to his face for a good 10 seconds, and he's not doing anything, he's just staring. And it's so weird. It's before they knew how to make videos, really. That's not his fault, it's the cameraman's fault. It's like, why? Okay, next one up, coming from Please Please Me, which was a UK album. Could think of the word. Do you want to know a secret?
Ooh, ooh.
You have it at 4. I have it at 25.
Then the second question, they always have that. Hey, you want to know a secret? Yeah. Then you go, promise not to tell. You always gotta say that.
What was the secret?
I'm in love with you.
Oh.
Says, I'm in love with you.
Alright.
So obviously he must be talking to a woman, I mean, yes.
Right. Yes. It's a secret. So he's a stalker.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Guarantee it's not a secret. Everybody knows. They can tell. He's looking at you going, "Yeah, he loves her." It's obvious. Always is.
That's funny. Okay, next one up. Number 8. Hey Jude, which I'm not sure if that was released on an album or not. Because it says, I found it as a Hey Jude EP or something. Maybe one of those, it wasn't a computer thing because computers weren't around then. Hey Jude, you have this as your number 1.
Yeah.
I have it at 28.
And they go, I wonder, I should have looked up to see if they repeat the ending thing
7 times. It does remind me. It does remind me of Journey's Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' ending. So, okay. Next one up, coming from the self-titled album, same title, A Hard Day's Night. Let's see, you have it at 19 and I have it at 8. And you got the beginning.
All right, so now he says he's been working like a dog. I don't see dogs. What do dogs do or work? I mean, at least he didn't say cat, because cats are lazy.
For sure. So he doesn't want you to know anything about the day other than it was hard, but he's specifically talking about the night. It's the hard days.
Night, yeah.
In case you're confused. All right, next one up, coming from Meet the Beatles from the U.S. That is hard to track down which album came out first.
Right, yeah.
This was I Want to Hold Your Hand. You have it at 3. I have it at 23. By the way, most of these songs were sung by Paul McCartney. This one was actually a duet with Paul and John together. We've had one George Harrison song and one John. Hard Day's Night was John Lennon singing.
Yeah, I like this. I could play it on the guitar. It's the easy song to.
I Want to Hold Your
G,
Hand.
start with G. And,
Well, weren't a lot of their beginning songs like that? You could probably play it.
yes.
Number 5. Hopefully we didn't get cut off. Can't Buy Me Love, which we've already talked about. A movie title from the
Or
80s.
can you?
Yeah. I have it at 5, you have it at 18, which shows of these beginning songs, somebody didn't like him, somebody liked him, and just back and forth. So we're getting to the songs where we do agree in both top 10s. Yeah, Can't Buy. And the movie, just so you know, the movie, he did try to buy love. Patrick Dempsey.
Well, Pretty Woman.
He was rich, right?
Pretty Woman. That whole thing is about
right.
Julia Roberts' character is a hooker,
Right.
and he buys her to hang with her.
Yes.
And they fall in love, so maybe you can. It just takes time.
That's right.
You start with money. They usually say money can't buy you happiness.
Which also probably is incorrect. I mean, true happiness, yeah, but I mean, you can buy you some happiness, right? All right, next one up, from the White Album, which was a UK album.
What's the saying people say?
What?
Money can't buy me happiness. But
I'm willing to
try. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I'm willing to try.
Okay, so you have this one at 10, I have it at 9, and that's Revolution, which had like 3 different versions. I mean, on the album, like, that's not it. It says Revolution number 9, regular Revolution. So
I've heard a couple versions.
yeah, so this is one of the, it's like similar to Come Together. You could tell it's one of their later songs for sure. And I think it's been covered probably by somebody. I'm sure everybody's covered it. What'd you say was the most covered song of theirs?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Why would that be the most covered? My goodness. I mean, there's just a lot of songs to choose from still.
Because of nostalgia. All my troubles seem so far away.
Right? Trying to get us. We need a slow song that'll make people cry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember what Billy Joel said?
What'd he say?
In Keeping the Faith. The good old days weren't always good, and tomorrow is as bad as he.
Okay. Next one up, another self-title, and that would be the Magical Mystery Tour. You have it at 8. I have it at 7. And
That changes too.
yeah.
In the flow, it slows down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's a lot of these songs. There are a bunch of Beatles songs I would rather hear today's radio than the crap we get.
Oh yeah.
Even though I wasn't a fan of the music back then. All right. The next song, number 2, is my number 1. And you have it at 11. It's from an album called Yesterday and Today.
Did you see the cover for that one?
No, I did not. What was it?
The cover has, and people didn't like it because they're sitting in like sort of like a bench. It's a kind of whitish background, and there's meat, like butchered meat on their laps,
yeah.
and like babies and baby parts, like
Yes.
not babies, not lives, dolls, baby dolls and parts.
Yes.
So it looks weird.
Well, they had a bunch of their cover art. Obviously they wanted to get away from just having the 4 of them standing there, like that. A lot of the early stuff. But it's We Can Work It Out. Yeah, this would be one of the more fun songs to play on the drums, I would think, because he does sort of like a not a march, but similar like that. Okay, next number 1. Now we're all over the place with our music. Nobody's list is going to be the same because there's just too many songs. We haven't even mentioned a lot of their songs, like Good Day, Sunshine, and yeah, they're 8 days a week. I mentioned that earlier. That's the song.
The Taxman, Paperback Writer,
I Am the Walrus. Yeah, there's a lot. Okay, so our number 1, coming from, well, it's actually in the midway point. This sounds like it should have been a song from their early albums, but it came during their midway point. It was on the Magical Mystery Tour album. I have it at 4. You have it at 6. That's the closest we came. We're ranking this song. Except for the crappy ones. We agreed on a lot of those. And that would be Penny Lane. And I do hear there's a video for that. Penny Lane's in my heart. Is it in my ear?
In my mind, heart and in my mind.
Always 2 places. Yeah, and I'm guessing it's a specific place in Britain somewhere. Penny Lane. It's not a person. Not like Lionel Richie's Penny.
No, it's a road. It's a road.
It's a road. So, why you have a road in your? It's nostalgia too. Remember when we used to live on this road? Oh yeah, I missed that house. Anyways, okay, so that's our Beatles list. We know you don't agree. Don't comment below saying do your research.
No, they can comment below.
Yes.
Comment. Tell us what your favorite Beatles song is.
That's right.
Or who your favorite Beatle is.
Yeah. Now we were jokingly went to Beatles. There's some things that you'd think were a Beatle and they're not a Beatle, and some things that are Beatles and you're like, why is it like a mealworm?
Well, I saw, yeah,
It's a beetle. Like
I saw
why
some.
is that a
I saw
beetle?
some worms were Beatles. I'm just surprised ladybugs were Beatles.
Yes, but who is your favorite Beatle singer?
I liked Ringo. I've always liked Ringo.
Really?
It must be because of our drummers.
It's
It's gotta be drummers.
Although I don't consider him that like one of my favorite drummers.
No.
But yeah, I would probably agree with you on that. So we'll go, and it probably has something to do with Caveman too. He put
Sure.
himself on the movie screen. We're like, yeah, he's our favorite. So we'll leave it at that. However, the next artist we're doing is not Ringo. It's John Lennon, because he was probably the next favorite out of the group.
Well, he was the co-leader, I think.
Yeah. So let's go there next week. All right, bye.
Bye.